Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including in August, 4 more cable TV networks are shutting down. We'll tell you which ones and exactly when, as cord cutting continues to eat into the world of cable TV. Speaking of which, CNN sees its ratings just plummet, be awful, and be, quote, devastatingly bad, according to a former CNN staff member. Also, ESPN and the NFL have struck a deal, according to the New York Times, that will see ESPN take over NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, NFL Plus, and more in exchange for the NFL getting partial ownership of ESPN. We got the full breakdown of this and why this is really big news for ESPN's new streaming service coming later this month. These stories and more coming up in a quick second. First, though, you can always find a link to every story I talk about in the show notes and in the first pinned comment. You can find them there. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so they recommend our videos to more people. Hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of TV. You can help us grow. All right, let's dive into it. Warner Brothers Discovery is shutting down 4 more cable TV networks this month. This joins Universal Kids and some other smaller, lesser-known networks. Now, some of these are pretty well known, including HBO Family, Thriller Max, and other HBO networks. With this, we'll shut down in the middle of August. I accidentally clicked off it. There we go. Movie Max, Outer Max, Thriller Max, and HBO Family will all shut down on August 15th. Not exactly sure when. Is that like 12:01 a.m. Eastern on the 15th? Is that 11:59 p.m. Pacific? I don't know. But we do know they have confirmed to us that they are shutting down. We first reported this, broke the news back at the end of May, but it's now been confirmed by multiple sources. Now, if you subscribe to HBO or Max, you get these channels through those sources. You'll probably already received a notification. Don't expect a price change just because you're getting less content now. They'll probably still charge you the same amount. But 4 more cable TV networks shutting down as increasingly, cable networks are being seen as liabilities, not profitable and not worth the time of cable TV operators. They're increasingly trying to consolidate down to fewer content without cutting prices to try to become more profitable. We'll keep an eye on it. Part of that has to be viewership, and as we've seen, new numbers say CNN's viewership hit a historical low in July, and it's, quote, devastatingly bad, according to a former CNN host, Chris Kiwasa? I apologize, very dyslexic. I probably butchered that, but linking it to his statement there. Primetime audience averaged just 865,000 compared to Fox News that had 2.41 million subscribers. With that, MSNBC also, MSNBC nearly doubled theirs with 865,000. CNN had 497,000. Very shockingly poor performance here. CNN is being spun off into an independent company, or part of an independent company, along with all the Warner Brothers Discovery other cable networks. 5 years ago even, that would have been unheard of. The idea that Warner Brothers Discovery would unload all of its cable networks, especially something like CNN, would have been unheard of. But in today's day and age, where less than 500,000 people are subscribing or viewing it every night during prime time, usually some of the best times for cable networks, is devastating. It makes perfect sense why they're getting rid of this. The question is, how many other networks are going to make it through this transition? We're seeing HBO shut down some of their networks. Part of this, well, it wouldn't surprise me to see Warner Brothers Discovery shut down other cable networks in the years and months to come. All right, let's keep moving along. Speaking of cable networks, ESPN is going to buy the NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, and other NFL media assets. I think it even includes the NFL website and NFL Plus. Now, in exchange for all this, that exact details have not been announced, but reportedly they'll get about 10% ownership of ESPN. Hearst and ESPN own it. Hearst and Disney own ESPN. Disney owns a majority of it. I suspect a big chunk of this split will come from the Disney side. But why is this happening? All reports, and I believe this is true from what I've heard from my sources too, is that Disney intends to include the NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, and more into ESPN's new unlimited streaming service, the $30 a month service that gives you access to their cable networks like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, News, SEC, ACC, ABC, and ESPN, and more. Adding in the NFL and the NFL Red Zone is a great way to try to build that out, make it look a lot more attractive to subscribers. Now that has not been confirmed, but I think it's more than likely going to be included. That's from the earliest reports of this, that's been one of the primary reasons reported as why Disney was trying to get this deal done. Let me know, what do you think of ESPN taking over NFL Network and more? Reportedly, this will get ESPN more exclusive NFL games. And when the rights come up for NFL content, maybe as soon as in a few years, if they take the early opt-out, Disney's probably going to be in a prime position to secure a bunch for ESPN. All right, next up, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting will shut down after funding cuts to PBS and NPR. Now, a few things, I've seen a lot of misinformation out there. I hate to say that, but a lot of misunderstanding. That's a much better way to say this. A lot of people are saying this means PBS is shutting down and NPR is completely shut down. No. The Public Broadcasting Corporation is like a funding. Federal government gives the money to them, and then they funnel it out to all the independently owned PBS and NPR stations. Now, with that said, with this shutting down and the funding being cut there, it does raise a lot of questions about especially the smaller PBS and NPR stations. I know you probably heard this. Oh, a very small fraction of funding comes from the federal government for these. Overall, that is true, but at the small local level, the smaller PBS stations across the country, they rely on it a lot more than a bigger one in Chicago, New York, or other bigger cities. They have a bigger donor base than a lot of small PBSs. When I lived in Texas, in Central Texas, the PBS station there, when the transition was happening, where they're trying to move people to new frequencies, they took the money from the federal government and shut down because of how tight their budget was. It wasn't worth them to try to spend all the money to migrate over to new frequencies and more, leaving my area with when I lived in Texas, with no over-the-air PBS stations. Now, cable networks picked up the Austin, Texas one, but unfortunately no free over-the-air. I suspect other smaller PBS stations and NPR stations may be facing similar questions right now. Can we continue without this federal government funding? We'll keep an eye on it, but for now, this only affects the parent company, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, that basically took the money from the federal government and then allocated it down to NPR and PBS stations. That's going away. The PBS and NPR stations now have to figure out how to continue without it. We'll keep an eye on it, but just a heads up there, it will continue for a little while longer, and throughout the end of the year, there will be a skeleton crew staying on to shut it down. All right, Amazon's launching a new Fire TV stick, or has launched quietly a new one. Now, this is called the Signage Stick, and it's really not meant for home users. It's $100. It's basically, it looks like a Fire TV Stick 4K Max, or maybe just a Fire TV Stick 4K. And with it, it's got custom-built software on there, meant for signage. So basically, you plug this into a TV at a restaurant or a hotel or somewhere, and you can use it through custom software to put up a menu, put up advertisements, play videos, roll film, and more. Now, this is a big business. There's very expensive custom-built TVs to do this and more. Amazon's new Fire TV Stick Signage, or Amazon Signage Stick, as they call it, allows you to, for under $100, do that. Now, it works, I think, with like 26 different types of software meant to put signs up, though subscriptions may be required for that software with it. But it is a pretty cool little way to turn pretty much any TV into a digital billboard, a menu for your restaurant, and more with it, and easily manage it without having to run an HDMI cable or other things to it. So a new Fire TV Stick hit there, really just a reprogrammed Fire TV Stick. Amazon trying to diversify the Fire TV market to become more sustainable. All right, next up, Comcast is going to shut down its email service, but good news and bad news here. Good news, you will be able to keep your email and migrate it over to Yahoo. Comcast has partnered with Yahoo to migrate customers' emails over there. If you would rather move it somewhere else, you can export all your email information and make it a new one and set it up that way. But you have to act. They say later this month they'll be contacting customers with details on how to merge it. And I believe you have like 100 and some days to move it with this. And if you do 120-day window to complete the process of moving your account over to Yahoo. If you do not complete the process in 120 days, your account will be deleted. If you do complete the move, you will be able to keep your same email and contact info there. Now, Comcast is joining a growing number of ISPs getting rid of their email service. Back in the day, it was a big deal because emails weren't out there. There wasn't a Gmail service 20-some years ago. I remember I actually still have my Yahoo account from late 1990s. So I still use that as my junk whenever you go to a website like, I gotta give them my email just to do one thing. That's the email I use. But it is interesting to see how popular this content has become, or email services have become, whether it be, Protomail, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL Mail still around, and more. I saw somebody with a Hotmail account not that long ago. All that put together, why compete with it as a Comcast? I think it was Cox shut down theirs not that long ago, and now it seems like Comcast is doing the same. Why pay all the money to maintain this? Almost no one uses it. Now, you may still have a Comcast email and not be a customer. When you canceled your Comcast service, Comcast did give you an option to request to keep your email address and keep using it. But now Comcast is completely shutting down that service and getting rid of it. Comcast did not comment about the message on its website about this to Core Cars News when we asked, but they have a help page all about the migration live with details about it. All right, next up, Dish is going to be spending $5 billion to build a cellular network from space to rival Starlink's internet service from space from SpaceX. Now with this, they're going to be launching a host of satellites into space, the first round being about $1.3 billion US, designed to cover the initial rollout, but the total cost is expected to be $5 billion for this. Instead of home internet, this is going much more focused on cellular service from space, competing with SpaceX's network here, and I think AT&T is using another company to do this, but to offer cell phone service from space, so you're always connected as long as you can keep seeing the sky, even if there's severe weather, or you're out in a rural part of the country with no satellite dishes. This definitely seems to be a move by EchoStar, the parent company of Dish, to keep its spectrum and to try to find another business model as it continues to struggle, losing hundreds of thousands of TV customers in the second quarter of 2025. But we'll keep an eye on it. I am very interested to see if Dish tries to once again unload its TV business through EchoStar. It has a satellite business already through both its satellite TV, but also its huge internet service is owned by EchoStar. We'll keep an eye on this, but I suspect that Dish is eagerly trying to find ways out of TV right now after their failed attempt to sell it to DirecTV. Hey, have you been thinking about getting 5G home internet? Speaking of home internet service, Verizon has a new deal right now. If you get 5G home internet, you can get NFL Sunday Ticket for free for a year with this. Now, terms and conditions apply if you want to check it out. Link in the show notes down below, but could be a great time to go pick up NFL Sunday Ticket if you've been thinking about it and been thinking about getting 5G home internet. Yeah, complete two things with one stone with that one. Check out link in the show notes. That's our deal of the day. All right, today in TV history, let me know if this one shocks you. National Lampoon's Vacation was released 42 years ago recently. Hard to believe that late last week, National Lampoon's Vacation turned 42 years old. Still one of my all-time favorite movies. Was released in 1983. Hard to believe. Any fans of National Lampoon's Vacation or any of the sequels? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Well, that's it for today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Until then, hey, thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe button, or don't forget to share these with your friends. We really appreciate everybody's support. Huge growth on the channel over the last few years, especially recently. We've seen a nice jump in traffic. If you have a cord cutting related question, this is a really tough spot. I see people often leave me questions. Problem is when I leave a question, it's very hard to see if you reply back. I don't get notifications. It's hard to have a discussion there to answer questions. Do me a favor. Go to Facebook. We have a link in our show. It's a link in the first pinned comment where you can subscribe to our cord cutting tech support page. Over 100,000 subscribers. I think it's over 107,000 subscribers now. Of cord cutters just like you, answering questions, asking questions, helping people cut the cord and break free from the high cost of TV. It's a great way to cancel cable and get some support while you do it. Well, until next time, take care, be safe. I'll be back again real soon.